So I will be discussing to you the endocrine system and hormones. Have you ever changed over the past year? So think about many aspects of how you've changed, from appearance to how much knowledge you have and even to maturity. So you may say hair color, style, type of clothes you wear, even your height, intelligence, your personality, interests, maturity, and even friends. What has caused those changes? So you may think of social and biological reasons why you have changed. So like for example, fashions have changed, so they change their style. Body is also causing them to mature and grow. So how do you think you will change in the next few years? So that will be the question. Many changes in your body are due to the endocrine system. So the endocrine system regulates, coordinates, and controls what? Your growth and development. Okay? So the growth and development, your growth hormones. What else? The male and female development, especially in terms of maturity and development of your physical appearance, how your body uses your energy. That will also fall under your endocrine system. The levels of salts and sugars in your blood, and even the amount of fluid in your blood, in your body, and also includes your appetite and many other body functions. So that's the importance. So you can see now the importance of this endocrine system. Almost all your body functions are associated with this system. Okay? So the endocrine glands are the organs of the endocrine system. So it talks about, it includes all your glands in your body, wherein these glands produces now or release or even secrete hormones. So these hormones are so important in terms of maturity, in terms of growth and development of our body. And these endocrine glands are all located all over your body. So like in the picture, you can see there, okay, so these are the examples of your endocrine glands. Like for example, we have your pituitary gland, which is located in the part of your nervous system in your brain. Okay, so this pituitary gland, this can be considered to be the master gland. Why? Because it regulates all other endocrine glands. Then this hypothalamus is also links to your nervous system. Okay, it links your nervous system to your endocrine system. The thyroid gland, okay, this one, the thyroid gland, which is so important in terms of metabolism, body heat, and even your bone growth. Then the adrenal glands. Okay, adrenal glands just can be located or can be found in your kidneys, above your kidneys. So they are so important in the response, especially in emergency or in stressful situation. Your pancreas, like for example, they are so important in the control of your blood sugar. The ovaries, okay? The ovaries, these are so important in the production of eggs, which is so also involves in the development or for the female characteristics, and the testes, okay, for the production of eggs, and of course for male characteristics. So these are all examples of your endocrine glands. How do you think the endocrine glands get their jobs done? Okay? So, the answer here is the hormones. Okay? Hormones are chemical messengers that are secreted or they are released from glands into the blood and affect cells in other part of the body. So, because the hormones, because they are in the blood, hormones can get transported to the organs, like in your brain, in your genitals, and even in your blood vessels. Okay, so we have here the target cells. What are these target cells? Hormones only work on certain cells, which are what we call now the target cells. The target cells have special receptors that recognize the hormones and allow them to influence the cell. Okay? So, these cells, okay, these receptors recognize the hormones. Okay? Mga receptors na yan, ito parang yung mga antenna na yan, these are receptors wherein they will just only recognize the hormones. And once they recognize it, they fit like a lock and key. So what controls the hormones in your body? We have here what we call your external stimuli and the internal stimuli. So external stimuli by way of nerves from your sensory organs in the nervous system. And then the internal stimuli, this by way of nerves and other hormones from, of course, inside the body. Kaya siya tinawag na internal. Notice that organ function is regulated by nerves and by hormones. Okay? So, what is the difference now between the nerve and hormone control? So, what's the difference? They control actually in different ways. Nerve action is quick. Okay? Nerve action is quick. Like, think of your reflexes. And can be stopped quickly. Hormone action is slower to develop and can last longer. So that's the difference. Okay, that's the difference. So can you name some external and internal stimuli? Remember, the external means coming from outside of your body, and internal means coming from the inside of your body. Okay, think of examples of these stimuli. A response is the body's reaction to the stimulus. What's the response in the situations? Okay, so we have here the stimulus. You hear a loud noise. So what will be your response? A large dog runs toward you, growling and barking. What will be your response? Are you going to bark to that dog? Or are you going to run away or pick up stones or sticks? Okay, we have different responses to a certain situations. You eat a large candy bar, or you have not eaten 6 hours. You have strep throat. Okay, so these are some stimulus. So what would be your responses in these situations? Most hormone systems are negative feedback system. Okay, so negative feedback, when you say negative feedback, means that when enough hormone is in the body stops producing the hormone until it is needed again. So, like a good example of a negative feedback is this. Okay, the hormone insulin. Yan. Okay. So, insulin is a hormone that is made by the pancreas. Insulin is released by the pancreas when you eat glucose. Okay, glucose is of course a kind of sugar. The glucose goes from the stomach to the blood. So the amount of glucose in the blood goes up. So the pancreas sees this high glucose level. Makikita niyo siya, madidetect niya. So it makes insulin and releases it into the blood. So the insulin goes through the whole body and tells cells to take glucose out of the blood. So cells use some of this energy, but some extra is also saved in the cells to use later. Okay, so when cells take up glucose from the blood, this makes the glucose level go down. So the pancreas sees this and stops now making insulin. So when the pancreas stops sending this message, sending the insulin, the cells in the body stop making extra glucose out of the blood. So that's an example of a negative feedback. So let's now go to the different, I will be discussing some of the endocrine glands, wherein we have here your pituitary gland. Okay, the pituitary gland, which is also known as your hypophysis, which hangs, again dito siya, which hangs inferior to your hypothalamus, connected by the slender funnel shape, which is now called the infundibulum, which is connected by the infundibulum. And there are two divisions of your pituitary gland. We have here your anterior and the posterior. So the anterior lobe, or this is known as your the anterior lobe is known as your adenohypophysis, which have 7 hormones. And then the posterior lobe, which is also known as the neurohypophysis, which have 2 hormones. So yan. So let's discuss the hormones that will be secreted from your anterior lobe. So we have here number 1, the TSH, or the thyroid stimulating hormone. So which is also known as the thyrotropin. So the hypothalamus produces the TRH, which tells now the pituitary gland to stimulate the thyroid gland. And what will be the effect? Okay, so the effect of it will be the secretions now of these thyroid hormones, especially the T3 and the T4. And then another hormone that is in the anterior is the ACTH, or the adrenocorticotropic hormone. So the adrenal cortex is the outer portion of your adrenal gland. So dito, what will be the effect of this hormone? This will lead into the secretion of the glucocorticoids, especially the cortisol and the corticosterone. So what is this glucocorticoid? So this one, it helps maintain the normal blood glucose concentrations by what? Increasing. Okay, by increasing. So there is the process what we call now your gluconeogenesis, which is a process that converts amino acids and or fatty acids to glucose. Okay, so that's the ACTH. And then, yeah. Okay, we have here your adrenal cortex. The adrenal cortex, okay, so yan, which can be found above the kidneys. Okay, above your kidneys. So on this, we have here the FSH, which is or the gonadotropins. Okay, the gonadotropins, which includes the FSH and the LH. So this FSH is why is it that they are called as the gonadotropins, the FSH and the LH? Because they regulate the activities of your gonads. Okay, they regulate the activities of your gonads, the testes and the ovaries, which now produces your reproductive cells. Okay, so the FSH is the hormonal effect of this will be secretion of estrogen and of course the follicle development. So on this part, the functions of estrogen, okay, especially for female, this leads into the development of the secondary sexual characteristics, okay, like development of breast, regulation of menstruation, ganyan. And then what else? For the male naman, the effect of this FSH to male is of course the level of their estrogen. The level of their estrogen, especially for this estrogen for males, it's so important for the maturation of the sperm and maintenance of their healthy libido. Yan. Okay, that's why importante din ang estrogen sa mga lalaki. Okay, so the target of these hormones for the FSH, the target hormones would be the substance testicular cells of the testes, which now stimulates the sperm maturation. And then we also have here the LH, okay, the LH, which is for the effect will be the ovulation. Of course, when you say ovulation, it's the production of the reproductive cells in females 14 days after menstruation. What else? Formulation of corpus luteum. So, what is this corpus luteum? Which is, it produces the progesterone. And progesterone, so para saan ang progesterone nito? The one that prepares now your endometrial lining to receive and nourish a fertilized egg. Okay, so kaya nga mataas ang progesterone, it remains elevated throughout pregnancy. For the LH naman for the males, the target will be the interstitial cells of the testes, which leads to the production of the secretion of the testosterone. So this testosterone, these are the primary male sex hormone. Okay, these are the primary sex hormone. And then what else? Which is so important for the secondary development of the secondary characteristics like increased muscle and bone mass. What else? Growth of body hair. Yeah. Okay. Then the prolactin. The prolactin is the target would be the mammary glands, and the effect of this prolactin is for the production of milk. Growth hormone or somatotropin, of course, the target would be all types of cells. Okay, the effect will be, of course, growth. What else? Protein synthesis and lipid mobilization. And then we also have here your melanocyte stimulating hormone. The targets will be the melanocytes, which increase now melanin synthesis in your epidermis, which is responsible in giving you darker color. Yeah. And then we also have here for the posterior lobe, which is also known as your neurohypophysis, which has two hormones. We have your ADH and the oxytocin. So the ADH, the target would be the kidneys, the kidneys, the fluid. So the effect would be reabsorption of water. They retain water in your body. And elevation of blood volume and pressure, kaya they constrict your blood vessels. Okay. And then the oxytocin, oxy meaning quick and tocus means childbirth. That's why this type of hormone is so important in terms of or during delivery. Okay, during delivery. So for female, it stimulates smooth muscle tissue in the wall of uterus promoting labor and delivery. Kaya siya for labor contractions. After delivery naman, it also stimulates the contraction of your myoepithelial cells, promoting ejection of milk. Yeah. And then for the male, what's the importance of this oxytocin for the male? It stimulates smooth muscle contractions in the walls of the sperm duct to secrete sperm and secretions of other glands into the male reproductive target before ejaculation. So level of oxytocin arise during sexual intercourse at organism. Yeah. And then another gland is your thyroid gland, which means shield shape. Okay, it means shield shape. Kaya tingnan ninyo, okay, the shape of the thyroid gland. So when something goes wrong with it, your thyroid gland typically becomes visible as it swells and distorts the surface of the neck. So the size is quite variable. Kaya nakikita lumalaki yung dito sa neck. Okay, if there is something wrong with the thyroid gland. Okay. So the thyroid gland secretes hormones, like your T4 and your T3. So the effect of this thyroxine and the T4 and the T3, so it increases energy utilization. So the thyroid hormones bind to mitochondria, which increases ATP production. Of course, you know that ATP is for energy. And then calcitonin, okay, their target cells will be our bones and the kidneys. So the calcitonin aids in the regulation of calcium concentrations in body fluids. It also inhibits the osteoclast in our bone, which slows the rate of calcium release from bone. And the effect on kidneys will be they excrete excess calcium to rule out yung mga stones na yan. Of course, too much calcium can weaken the bones, okay? And kidney stores it, kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng tinatawag na mga kidney stones. Then we also have here your parathyroid glands, which is just posterior, okay? Which is just posterior surfaces of your thyroid gland. There are two cell populations here. We have your chief cells and the oxyphils. Okay, so yung chief cells, it produces the PTH, wherein it increases calcium concentrations in body fluids. So this PTH, it stimulates your osteoclast to release calcium, to release calcium from the bone when needed. And another function of your PTH is to inhibit osteoblasts. They inhibit osteoblasts to reduce the amount of calcium deposition in bone. Kasi if too much deposited in your bones, yun yung tinatawag nating hypercalcemia. Okay? It also weakens your bone pag masyadong maraming calcium deposited in your bones. And therefore, create now yung tinatawag nating kidney stones. Yan. Okay. Yung other hormone that is being secreted by your parathyroid gland is your oxyphils, which it has still unknown function. Adrenal glands, these are also known as the suprarenal. Why? Because they are just above your kidneys. And there are two divisions of it. Okay? We have your adrenal we have your adrenal cortex and the medulla. So this is the adrenal glands, okay, your adrenal glands. So your adrenal cortex is a yellowish color due to the presence of stored lipids. Yan, tingnan nyo. Yan, this one. The adrenal cortex is yellowish in color due to the presence of stored lipids, especially cholesterol and various fatty fats. Yun yung nasa gitna is the adrenal medulla. Okay. So, andito, what are the hormones? Okay. And before that, we have here three distinct regions or zones in your cortex. We have the glomerulus, which is the outer region of the adrenal cortex, which stimulates the conservation of sodium, ions, and of course, water. Yung fasciculata naman is located at the middle, wherein their targets are most, or the target are most on cells. Okay, the glucocorticoids. And then we also have here the reticularis. Okay, the hormones. Hormones will be the androgens. It produces androgens. Okay, so there is an uncertain significance under normal condition. But these androgens, okay, these are sex hormone produced by the testes. And then, as a female naman, it is converted to estrogen, which is a dominant sex hormone of female. Kaya, may androgens ba ang mga babae? Okay, meron. May mga androgens ang mga babae, but small amount of it. Kaya small amount of it, mas mataas yung mga female hormones natin. Mas mataas ang androgens sa mga male. Okay, and then the medulla. The medulla. Okay, so there are two actually populations of cells in your medulla. We have your epinephrine, which is also known as your adrenaline, and the norepinephrine, which is the noradrenaline. So these, of course, they are so important for the fight and flight system. Of course, what will be the functions or the effects of it? Increased cardiac activity, blood pressure, glycogen breakdown, blood glucose levels, okay, and releases lipids by adipose tissue. The pineal gland, yan, this one, okay, it's a part of the epithalamus of your brain, which is actually, yan, okay, which contains the pinealocytes, the neurons, neuroglia, and special secretory cells, which now produces, this pineal gland produces melatonin. So, when there is a melatonin, it inhibits reproductive functions. So, some other mammals, melatonin, it slows the maturation of sperm, oocytes, and reproductive organs. Kaya it inhibits reproductive functions. What else? Melatonin also protecting against damage by free radicals. Melatonin is very effective antioxidant that protects now your central nervous system neurons from free radicals such as mga nitric oxide, mga ganyan. And setting circadian rhythms. Ito, the pineal activity is cyclical, okay? It's cyclical. So, it changes, okay, melatonin, it changes physiological processes. Pag malamig, bumababa ang melatonin. Wherein, pag bumaba ang melatonin mo, it changes your mood, even your eating habits, and even your sleeping patterns. Okay, so nga numadlaw yun, nung nalami is, karanahin kayo mabisin. What else? karan kayo makaturog. Yan. Okay. Yan. Okay. So, that's the melatonin. Then, we have here your pancreas. Your pancreas, okay, the pancreas, we have here the alpha cells. Okay, the targets will be the liver and even the adipose tissues. So, the glucagon, the hormone glucagon raises the blood glucose levels by increasing glycogen breakdown and glucose release by the liver. The beta cells naman, which is the insulin, it lowers blood glucose level. It lowers blood glucose level. So, dito, the insulin facilitates uptake of glucose by the target cells. And then the delta cells naman, dito, it slows down the rate of absorption and enzyme secretion along your digestive tract. Okay? So, yan. And then the other one is the F cells. So, it inhibits gallbladder contraction. What else? And even it increases the rate of nutrient absorption by your digestive tract. So, this one, the F cells, are so important in terms of nutrient absorption in your digestive system, in your digestive organs. So, there are also hormones produced by organs of other systems. So, like we have here in your intestines, they produces this gastrin and many secretin. Okay, wherein this is so important to coordinate other organs for the digestive activities, like the process of absorption, like the process of digestion, and the process of releasing enzymes for the digestion, for the chemical digestion. Kidneys naman, they also produce this EPO and the calcitriol. Okay, so of course, this EPO, it stimulates your RBC production, the red blood cell production, and also the calcitriol, it stimulates calcium and phosphate absorption. Other is your thymus. Okay, the thymus, which coordinates and regulates your immune system. Very important ang thymus, especially for our immune system. The adipose tissues produces this leptin para for the suppression of your appetite. Yan. Corpus luteum, okay, produces these progestins, like it's so important in the preparation of the uterus before the implantation process, and even prepares the mammary glands for secretory activity, for the production of milk, ganyan. So, there are also endocrine disorders for organisms, like we have dwarfism, ibig sabihin, kulang ka sa growth hormone. So, what will be, ano mangyayari sa'yo? Of course, pag underproduction, kulang, dwarfism, maliliit. Pero meron na naman yung mga sobra-sobrang pag-produce ng growth hormone, sila yung gigantism or acromegaly, excessive growth. ADH din. Okay, pag underproduction, meron tayong tinatawag na diabetes insipidus, ibig sabihin, okay, yung tawag dito, yung ihi ka ng ihi, so it will lead into dehydration naman. Pero din naman yung overproduction, which is the SIAD. Ito, it increases body weight and water content. Kasi nga, hindi na ilalabas yung tubig. Okay? Nare-retain siya sa katawan mo. Kaya, ito, usually, ang matataba sila. And then, iba yung taba nila. Parang yung manas. Okay? There's water retention in their body. Sa T4 and T3 naman, myxedema or the cretinism. And then sa hyperthyroidism, pag overproduction and the Graves' disease. Then for the parathyroid hormone, if it's underproduction, of course, hypoparathyroidism and then hyperparathyroidism. Ito, insulin. If it's underproduction, DM1 ka. Okay, it is being classified as diabetes mellitus 1. Okay, so ito. Yung iba naman, if it's overproduction naman, meron ka talagang it increases excessive insulin production. Kaya mababa yung blood glucose level mo dito. Mineralocorticoids, pag underproduction, we call it as your hypoaldosteronism. And then, if it's overproduction, aldosteronism. In terms of absorption of potassium and sodium. Okay. And then, glucocorticoids, meron tayong tinatawag na Addison's disease and the Cushing's disease. Epinephrine and norepinephrine, pag under production, wala pa naman, wala pang na-identify na ganito. But if it's overproduction, pheochromocytoma, mataas yung kanilang mga metabolic rate, elevated blood glucose, parang napaka-energetic nila, mga ganyan. Then, for females naman, if it's underproduction in terms of estrogen, hypogonadism. Of course, hypogonadism, ibig sabihin, lack of sterility. Ibig sabihin, parang mahirap pang manganak or hindi ka talaga manganganak dito. Lack of secondary sex characteristics. Pag sobra naman, adrenogenital syndrome, overproduction. Kaya may mga babae na nakikita mo mukhang lalaki or mabuhok na babae. Like, ang dami nilang buhok meron sa bibig, marami sa paa, mga ganyan. Parang meron silang merong mataas yung production ng kanilang androgen. Meron ng mga babae na parang may titi, mga ganun. Okay, there are some cases of it. Androgens naman for males, we call it as your hypogonadism. Of course, it also for sterility and lack secondary sex characteristics. Pag sobra naman, ito naman, yung mga lalaki naman, parang there are some characteristics of it na para sa mga na makikita mo na babae siya, like enlargement of breast. Okay, may mga lalaki na malalaki ang suso. Okay, yan.